just been woken up very, very, very early in the morning. Fortunately, not a bad drop, if I don't mind saying so myself. Do excuse me while I take some snuff. You may have to doubly excuse me because I'm in my gardening cassock. It's rather smelly. There are a lot of moth holes. And I use it for housework, walking the dog and pottering. So it's a bit of a shambles. I can't even do it up. I bought it in Rome many years ago. It's amazing I can get into it remotely even. From a lovely Roman tailor. It wasn't Gamarelli. I can't quite run to that sort of expense. But I was a sort of a standard fit back then, unlike now. And I just walked into this Roman tailor, not far from the Vatican. And he just took one look at me. He looked me up and down, disappeared for 5 minutes, came back with this cassock on a hanger and said, try this on. Perfect fit. And here it is. No longer a perfect fit. Anyway, I thought I would appraise you of the situation with the walls. I know you're absolutely fascinated about my walls, as much as I am. Well, my last video, you saw the walls come tumbling down. Joshua fought the Battle of Jericho. But today, Christ is made our sure foundation. What has happened since is the walls have come down. What has happened also, you probably hear my neighbour filling their coal bucket too, so ignore that. The walls have come tumbling down. A trench has been dug. Bricks have turned up, and a trench has been filled. But what happened was, that was all going swimmingly, and I was pretty unstressed, and then I became very stressed because the builder didn't bother to protect the footings, and every man and his dog trampled over it. Well, that's not quite true. One dog did, and then we basically leveled it to the cement again, so it was all nice and flat. And then another great huge dog, I didn't catch it in time, just as well, came bounding along. I went out. It looked like I'd been attacked by a puma or a big heavy wolf. There was these massive great footprints in the concrete, in the wet concrete. And it jolly annoyed me. But the builders were very good. They put me at my ease and they said, well, don't worry, because where the prints are of this huge animal, for which the owner clearly showed no compunction because nobody came to the door to apologise or put a note through the door. The builder assured me that, oh, this won't be a problem because the bricks will be upon that foundation and you won't see the pores. But what's sort of annoying is I'm not quite with it sometimes. And I was just thinking, when I'm paying all this money, I don't want huge paw prints under my foundation, under my bricks. I was quite annoyed and put out there, but I've simmered down since, possibly because I've had a glass of claret. Now, what I do want to alert you to, before I go any further, well, I'm not going to go any further, I'm just going to show you the footage, is that there's going to be a nice, an exciting, possibly, video coming out next week about Charles and the coronation. It's the week before the coronation, and a lot of people have been talking on the internet about the invitation cards. And in the invitation card, front and centre is a huge green man. Now, I'm not going to talk about it now, but I've got a great video coming up, which will be released next week, called Is Charles a Pagan? So do tune in for that. And while I'm speaking on the subject, do subscribe. Perhaps you'd like to tell me what you think, whether Charles is a pagan or not, or save it for the video at least, but do subscribe so that you'll be alerted as soon as it goes live. In the meantime, I'm going to leave you with some footage of the various works that have happened in the last few days. And it's been great having you aboard, and I will see you, God willing, on the next video. Take care. for the builders today, and here are the bricks. And fine looking bricks they are too. The skip is already half full. Oh well, I'm going to have a bath. I'm still here in my pyjamas. I need to de-stress. I've just emerged from a rather luxurious bath. It wasn't for the purposes of becoming clean, it was to hide basically from all the work that's been going on downstairs, outside. The skip, as you can see, has been tremendously used since yesterday's video. The excitement, of course, this morning, and it really was early, was the bricks arriving for the new wall. So this is all good. But the main excitement is the trench. We now have a sure foundation. Christ not alone, a sure foundation. And there it is, look at it. This will be filled with concrete hopefully by tomorrow. Goes all along. There's 4 great pillars, so the footings are slightly larger in places. It's all very exciting. I don't think there's any going back now. And there's the final pillar that will go in there. So it's all good. I'm going to walk the dog now and just have a little bimble around the village. Do stay with me and I'll keep you updated. God bless. I've been woken up again, the second morning in a row, but again to good news, the cement has arrived. Morning, Kevin.
Morning.
You builders like to get up early. So concrete has started to go in the trench. Don't hang about.
Well, until we level it, don't know, but we'll put a bit more in. Yeah, I'll put it down. I'll start leveling it and leave the two down there.
You don't mind being on camera, chaps? I've never actually seen this happen before. I thought they'd just be on them little cement mixers.
No, it's the volumetric mixer. So all you had to do is sand and stones in the back.
Yeah.
You've got your cement in there, your cement powder in there.
Yeah.
You've got your water bowser. You've got a belt. See the gates in there. Look, so you've got your belt with your sand and your stone. The belt comes down and throws it into the bottom of this. Your cement comes through there, and your water's fed in by jets.
Which is incredible.
You've got a corkscrew, a big corkscrew in there. That's what mixes it.
Just for a little tiny cottage like mine.
So everything mixes in this here.
And will you just go on from job to job today?
Yeah, we go job to job, mate.
Yeah.
So we've got one down in Linton next.
Oh, Linton?
Yeah, so we'll go to Linton next.
Just sold a house in Linton?
Yeah.
Do you know the address? It might be my old house.
No, we don't know the address. I've got it on my tablet, but I don't know it off the top of my head.
It might be my mother's old place. Oh well, I'll let you get on. Although I have to say, it's very interesting. After the foundations went in, and I had this hymn in my head, Christ is made our sure foundation. Christ is made our sure foundation. Purdy doesn't agree with my singing voice, and I can't quite blame her. She's making a noise down there again. It became very interesting, actually, that I had to replace the footings, as they're called, with new cement, a new foundation. Because if we'd have put all the bricks, brand new bricks at great expense, on the old crumbling foundations, there was a good chance, of course, that the bricks could topple and crack and become insecure and eventually fall down. And I became minded of how sure foundations are important in so many areas of life. I mean, the first one, obviously, that comes to mind is marriage. And many of my viewers will be married. I'm surprised people don't come after me under the 1968 Sales of Good Act when they've become divorced for selling them a faulty product. But so far, nobody's chased me for having joined them together in holy matrimony. But all joking aside, one does need a sure foundation in relationships. And there is a huge number of divorces, as we know. You may be divorced yourself. And part of the blame, particularly modern marriages, is not so much we rush into it, but we haven't actually had a sure foundation. We haven't quite made absolutely sure that everything, the superstructure that we build in our life upon the coming together of one man and one woman, and I mean one man, one woman, not one woman and one woman and one man and one man, let's get that straight, that it's based upon this superstructure, upon a sure foundation. And just fancying each other is not enough. Sometimes not even just having mutual interests is enough. What goes into a sure foundation is perhaps best left for another video. But by gum, you need a sure foundation before you get married. And then you've got the footings to build, to establish a good relationship. And it's the same in everything in life. You think about careers. When I was young, you'd say to people, what do you want to do when you leave school? They'd always know, oh, I want to be a footballer, I want to be a train driver, I want to be an architect, I want to be a priest, I want to be an actor, I want to be a footballer, I want to be this, I want to be that. Nowadays, when I ask people of school age, what do you want to be? They haven't got a clue. And it's even worse. I mean, in my congregation, I'd have a lot of undergraduates, and I'd have a lot of graduate students who were doing their MAs and possibly DPhils. DPhils seem to know what they want to do. I usually just teach. Anyway, but even the master's students, you say to them, oh, and what do you want to do when you finish? Don't really know. There's a lot of people who don't seem to really know now. But you know, in life, again, you need a sure foundation. I can remember when I was young, people being told to go and get a trade. If you get a trade, lad, you'll never be without work. Get a trade. And there was a lot of sense in that. Because in those days, we did have apprenticeships. And some of them may be as short as 4 years, some could be as long as 7 years. And people learn to trade, whether it be a farrier, a plumber, a carpenter, endless trades, where you actually, when you left school, learnt something worthwhile. Not a degree in media studies or greenkeeping, although that might be useful if you like golf and find a job afterwards. Because believe it or not, there is a degree in greenkeeping. There's a degree in everything. People seem to like forensic science for some, or crime psychology. Not that they'll ever use it, but it just sort of interests them. Now, I don't want to decry anybody that's gone to university or has been to university. Well, I say universities. Most what passes for a university are not. They're polytechnics. They're colleges of higher education. They have been rebranded for filthy lucre. Because nobody wants to say, you know, I'm the alumni of Halifax Polytechnic or whatever. No, it's got to be the University of Halifax. And so now everybody's got a university, every town. And they're all universities now. But of course, again, we don't call them universities, do we? Because everything's a bit dumbed down. We call it uni. Everybody's got to go to uni. And what are you studying at uni? But not all of them are real classical universities, and neither are the educations that they give. It's all about this. Do you know what I think? I think they should go off and do apprenticeships, because they've wasted their money. You know, a lot of these people are going to be in hock for thousands of pounds for a very long time. Some won't pay it off. Some might not want to pay it off. And it's a disastrous situation for the country, and it's unsustainable. What we should be doing is channeling our youth. And they should be taught this by the careers officers at schools. They should be channeled into apprenticeships and learn how to do something that's of some bloody use. Because then they will have a sure foundation in order to establish their life. Anyway, I think that's a long way off. What do you think? Perhaps you might mention something in the comments. But I'm not going to bang on. I like to bang on, but I'm not going to bang on any further. But my foundations are in, complete with huge Alsatian paw prints. But the foundation will be secure enough, one hopes, to put the bricks on top. And I will be showing you this in another video. But I look forward to revealing my Charles III video next week. I hope you tune in for it. And I wish you a very happy evening. It's night time now. I don't spend all day drinking, as much as I probably would like to on some days when I've had a week like this. So, good to see you. Stay tuned. Do subscribe. God bless you, and see you on the next video.